I just finished up smoothing out this hillside because it was full of ruts due to years of washout because I could never get grass to grow here. Now there is rain forecasted in just a couple days, so I need to get grass planted and erosion control in place quick before all my hard work is literally washed away. Yeah, I don't really carry anything anymore. I just drive things around with my loader. So these are the products that we're going to be using to seed the area. And now I don't really need this area to look the greatest. I just need there to be grass to hold the soil in place so it doesn't keep eroding away like it was before. So I chose to go with a cheaper grass seed, the Kentucky 31 Tall Fescue. It should be a quick growing grass, which is what I really need. And it also should be very hardy. We got very cold winters, obviously, here in Minnesota, and this is going to be a kind of grass that's going to hold up to that very well. If I do end up wanting a little bit better look, I can overseed with a more premium grass seed in the future just to bring in a little bit more darker grass and get a better look out of this area here. I went ahead and calculated the square footage of the area that I need to seed here, and it came out to 1,600 square feet. So I went online and looked at a grass seed calculator. I was able to put in the area that I needed, the climate zone that I'm in, and the type of seed that I was using, and it told me that I needed 16 pounds of grass seed. So of course I went ahead and got 50 pounds because you can never have too much grass seed. So no, but really I have a ton of area that needs seed, so I just figured I would get a nice big pack and get the best deal possible. So got plenty of seed for that. But like I said, I need this grass to come in very quickly, so I went ahead and spent my money on the fertilizer. This is going to be what gives me the best results. This is the Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action that is built for seeding. So this product is not only going to give me a little extra food for the seed as it grows in and kind of just boost that germination process, but more importantly, this is going to prevent weeds from popping up during the germination process. And you know, those weeds are going to be taking away water and additional resources like the nutrients from the grass seed, and also, of course, just not looking great. Weeds are a huge problem when you're doing a big seeding project like this, so this product is going to help prevent all those weeds from coming in. The active ingredient that prevents the seeds from coming in is mesotrione, and that is going to prevent that terrible crabgrass and dandelions for 6 weeks, like it says right there. There are multiple ways of distributing the seed or the fertilizer over the area that you're seeding or fertilizing, and I've got 3 of them here, and then of course if it's a small enough area you could just do it by hand. If it's fertilizer you want to wear gloves, of course. So what I have here is a walk behind broadcast spreader, and then a toe behind broadcast spreader, and the handheld broadcast spreader, and I just picked this one up and it's electric, so that's kind of cool. And then there are also a variety of drop spreaders or drop spreaders with spike aerators attached to them, a bunch of different things you can do, but these are kind of common ones. And I have a pretty large property, so generally if I'm fertilizing the whole area, I'm going to be using my toe behind broadcast spreader. But in this case, it's kind of a tight area with the bottom of the hill being right up against some vegetation, and then up here I have some things I kind of got to watch out for. So to keep my seed dispersing a little bit under control, I'm going to be using the walk behind method on this one. And then for my fertilizer, I'll be using the handheld. Now I know that there are specific amounts of seeds that you're supposed to have per square foot, and you're supposed to dial in your spreader and walk at a certain pace, but I've never really done that with grass seed. I just kind of play it by ear, actually play it by sight, and just make sure that I'm getting a nice even spread of grass seed and that there's not big clumps, because you actually can put too much grass seed down. So if you get piles of grass seed in one spot, as it grows, the grass can actually choke the other grass out and prevent good germination. So of course you don't want to put too much down, but I just kind of go for a nice even spread of it. But that will be a different situation when we get to the fertilizer. I do believe that that needs to be put down in a certain amount. I got my seed laid down, and to me it looks pretty uniform. I think I got enough down there. You can leave a comment below. Let me know if you would put more or less, or if you think I got this about right. But that is what I'm going with right there. There are really two very important steps to growing grass. And the first one being ground seed contact. You want to make sure that that seed has actually got good contact with the dirt that you're planting it in. Just laying it on top is not good enough. So for that step, I take my dethatching rake and just work the seed into the soil a little bit so that when the seed germinates, it has some dirt around it that it can get the roots put into and grow really nice, well-established grass. This rake that I'm using is off of Amazon. It comes with two different sizes of dethatcher rakes, which is really nice to have options for what you need. Of course, I'm using the bigger one for this project since it is such a large area. But of course, if you have any more questions about this product or any other products that I use in the video, I will have links down in the description. And while you're there, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I will have that second really important tip for you later on in this video. And now when applying fertilizer, I do like to go with the directions on the bag to get down the right amount for the optimal results. So for that process, I did pick up a new spreader. With my older spreaders, they're a little bit harder to dial in exactly the right amount of what I'm getting. And with this Scott's Whiz hand spreader, they actually have the setup that I need right on the bag. So I know that I need to set this dial to 4 3/4 to get the right amount of this fertilizer down. And not to mention, like I said before, this hand spreader is actually battery controlled. So all I have to do is push a button. The little door down here opens up, lets the fertilizer out, and it starts spinning the spreader all with one button. It's really cool. And it has a little edge guard on there if you're walking by some mulch or something that you don't want to get fertilizer or seed into. You can slide that and it'll shield whatever you're spreading from going where you don't want it. So really cool little product. So definitely would check this out if you need a spreader. And this is not a sponsored video. I paid for all these products. I just like to promote the stuff that I think works really well. And now it's time for that second crucial step to getting your grass to grow. But first I gotta go grab some things that are gonna be important for this step. That next crucial step is going to be keeping the grass wet at all times. Not drenched, not soaked, but just nice and damp through the duration of the germination and then slightly after until that grass is established. So the best way to keep moisture in the dirt while the grass is growing is to keep it covered up. And there are a few different ways that you can do this. One very popular way is to cover the whole area in peat moss. And that works very well. Peat moss is very good at retaining moisture, but it is also a very unenvironmentally friendly way to do it. Peat moss takes thousands of years to develop, so pretty much what we have now is all we're ever gonna have. So I tend to not go that route. I know it's very popular in potting soils and things like that, so I'm sure I use it in something, but I try not to use it if I don't have to. And also, I'm on this very steep hill. So peat moss isn't going to protect from erosion. If we get a heavy rainfall while this grass is still growing in, that peat moss is also just going to wash away with the rest of the dirt and the seed, and I'm going to have a mess. So I am using these Erosion Control straw blankets. They are specially designed just for this application. They are mechanically woven together to give a really well-covered area. It's going to prevent the rain from washing away all this hard work that I've done making this hillside nice and smooth again. These rolls that I got are 8 feet wide by 112.5 feet long, which would be just enough to cover the area that I have. And then I just have a few stakes that I've used in other projects that I can use to hold these blankets in place in case of wind or heavy rain. And I'm choosing to use the wood stakes to hold this in place because honestly, they're just easier to find when you need to take this back up again. You can use those little metal landscaping staples, but they're a pain to find once the grass grows in. I've seen even with metal detectors, they're still almost impossible to find. So these are gonna be obviously very easy to see when I'm ready to take them out. And then they also make biodegradable stakes that you can use. But I'm going to be removing the straw as soon as I start to get the grass to grow. And I'm sure that those stakes are not going to be degraded all that much in that amount of time. So if you're going to be leaving your straw down for a long time, then that's probably a good way to go. Now that I got this whole area covered in these straw erosion control blankets, now we need to move on to watering. For watering this area, I'm going to be using two different types of watering systems. For the big wide open area like behind me here without any tree cover, I like to use this oscillating sprinkler from Melnor. I've been using this sprinkler for a few years now and it's always given me great results. It's really nicely adjustable. You can really dial it into the specific area that you need to water. And it almost mimics like a really nice soft rainfall, which is perfect for new seed. For this area at the top of the hill, that oscillating sprinkler is not going to work because I have low-hanging trees right over this area. So that high arcing water is just going to hit those trees and then it's going to drip down and cause overwatering in certain areas. And it could, even with these blankets, maybe even disturb the seed a little bit too much. So for an area like this, I like to use these DIY sprinklers that I learned how to build from my buddy over at Suburban Acreage. And he recently just put out a video all about these sprinklers, how they work and how to put them together. So if you are interested in how to do that, I would go over to his channel and check that video out right after you're finished with this video. I will have his video linked in the description for this video. But just a quick summary, these sprinklers are made out of parts that you would find in an underground irrigation system, and they are super customizable for your needs. There are many different style of heads that give you different spray patterns for what shape and size of area that you're looking to water. I'm using this rotator style from Hunter, and I know that the company Orbit also has a lot of great options. And just like that oscillating sprinkler, these Hunter rotator style heads are perfect because they give a really nice, evenly distributed, soft rainfall-like sprinkle to the area that you need to water. So even if you don't have an erosion control situation, this style of sprinkler will not wash your new seed away. As of right now, I only have this one hose that I'm going to be using to run both of these sprinkler setups. So if that is the case, I like to run a hose off of the sprinkler. Sometimes I cut a custom length hose from an old junk hose that I'm not using anymore. I've went strictly to these Flexzilla hoses now. They just hold up way better than anything else that I've found. So I have cut up a lot of my older hoses into these smaller hoses. And now I use these quick connect hose ends for any of the products that I put on a hose, like sprinklers or spray nozzles, and even my pressure washer. So I have these sprinklers running right now. So even with the water on, I'm able to grab the hose and just shut the water off and separate the hose very easily. And then the same thing for this sprinkler here. I run this hose all the way out to the edge of my erosion control blankets out here. And that way, when I need to go hook up my hose, I don't have to trample over all of this freshly laid dirt and grass. I can just come right over here to this hose, connect it with the quick connect, and turn it on, and I'm watering with that one. That makes switching between these sprinklers super easy. And now if you're too busy to go out and manually turn on your sprinklers, or you don't want to remember to have to water 2 or 3 times a day, then a sprinkler timer like this one from Resmo could be a great idea. This one obviously has the 2 separate outputs for 2 different sprinkler systems, and then within each of these presets there is individual timers for each of the lines. So if I go over here, now I'm on preset number 1, that's how you can go in and control everything. So I have it on zone R, which is the right side, and then you can switch to zone L, the left side here, and you can see that that has 2 separate times on it. And then if you cycle through, you can set the duration. So I have that one set for 20 minutes. And then you can also set which days that it waters. So if you have watering restrictions in your area where you can only water every other day, you can set that up on here, no problem. So there's a lot of flexibility within this product right here. You just get it all set up to the times you want. So I have the right section going 3 times a day, that's the larger watering area, and the left only twice a day, which is the top of the hill. It does not get as much sun there, so I don't want to drown that seed out. And now I can just leave this set up and it'll do all my watering for me. Now I feel really good that I got this hillside all protected and I shouldn't have to worry about any rain washing away all my hard work. Now I just have to hope that this grass grows in nicely and I don't have to worry about erosion anymore on this hillside. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. And if you're interested in seeing anything else I've done, I've got a playlist right here and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.